3:30, starting the broadcast here. Trade Ideas Live Q&A. Late day Q&A for me here with Trade Ideas. As per usual, we do open forum here. So any questions you have, please fire away. Let people start to pile in. Take a tour around what's going on in the markets. How are you there, Ignacio? Welcome, welcome. Jack, how are you? So, open forum. If you guys have questions, start firing right away. If not, I do my best to keep things moving, keep it interesting, keep it informative. Go around the horn at some things that I was looking at today, some things that were discussed, do a tour of the market, so on and so forth. Alrighty, sorry, just taking a look at this chart here. I had someone in my support chat that I help facilitate over here asking about the stock, and all I can tell them is there's absolutely no data on the stock. In fact, there's so little data that this is what IB says, no data. So just kind of interesting here. I don't know if it was a ticker change or what. Let's see if we can send it to the web and take a look at it here. Send to web. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, that's that anyway. So, all right, no right away questions here. So let's see, what can we take a look at first? Let's dive in. Take a look at Barry's option scanner. See what we had coming through that today. If anything was noteworthy there. A little less than the last few days for alerts. It looks like a top tick on that. So yeah, just a few pennies afterwards. So nothing special there. I'm never a big fan of the lower price stocks anyways like that. Same thing there. So not quite as nice as the last few days that we looked at it had set up. 42. Nah, not really much there. You had to have been real fast on that. Sangamo. Same kind of theme. Now, I made a comment about this actually today to the other traders here. This line that I have on this chart here, I probably drew this line 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Let's take a look time frame. I'm not sure that exactly there's no time on it for when I drew it, but I'm sure I drew it. I would suspect I drew it somewhere back here. All right, not as long as ago as I thought, 2 years ago. Can't tell me that that's not significant. This ran right up into it, couldn't really get by it and back. So, anybody that's been in any of these live sessions with me, I talk about pivot lines not being an exact, you get your whoopsies one side or the other. There's your whoopsie, just poked through it, couldn't get some closing candles above it, and back down. So, all right, I see your question coming in. I like questions. Question, I'm trying to avoid bad trades from the AI. Normally don't enter long trades that are below 10 SMA, Also, can I avoid trades like 5 candles? Something like that just starts to be a trader's eye, Ignacio. Let's see, MQ. Take a look at that chart. I haven't looked at the AI today, but all right. So, things that I would note right away off this here. You've got a new issue, okay? You got this big topping tail right here, okay? That's never very fun. And then you gap up here, but you've got yesterday's, got all this from yesterday to look at here. So just wasn't really a setup that I would have liked. And then she entered here as it was moving back. So yesterday hammer, today strength. I'm not crazy about that being a hammer either, but that I guess qualifies for it. So, just as my own eye, Um, I just don't like the chart, you know. And we can see here that this became the line in the sand that it couldn't get through anyways. She wicked, she got it on the top wick right there, basically. So avoiding something like that. And I'll note this. I know you mentioned 10 SMA, but I'm looking at this 8 EMA here, and you know, as soon as it lost that 8 EMA, it never recovered again, and attempted down here and still couldn't do it. So this 8 EMA was in control of it that whole way through. That's my kind of note from that there. Sorry, just peeking back over at this chart. Sorry, just trying to answer these questions here. So if you guys have other questions, please fire them in for me. And I'm gonna circle right back to you all. My apologies for the delay here on that. All right, there we go. So 5-minute candle after the AI alert. Um, you're gonna, this comes to, having a trading plan. You're gonna have to, figure what kind of works for you. What's the time frame that you're looking at? Remember, Holly isn't created for any one specific trading plan. So, while a lot of what she does has a statistically weighted entry on them, you got to kind of work it out to what your trading plan is and how that fits into your plan. I don't, for example, a stock like this, I don't trade stocks at this price almost ever. I don't like anything really under $5, to be honest. And I kind of even shy away from things under $8. It's just part of how I trade. I don't like to trade stocks like this. I don't do well with stocks in this price. And then the same kind of thing here, a newer issue, there's not a lot of chart data to work with. And this runs right into what I would say is resistance right there for that particular stock. So you've got to, this gap up on a really cheap stock to start with anyways. So again, you know what I mean, it comes to seat time in a trader's eye. What else is on that? So and she gets in at 9:40. Unless I've been tracking a stock and I have a feel for its personality, I'm not jumping in. I'm not jumping anything usually before 9:50 a.m. It's rare that I'm in before 9:50 a.m. on anything, unless, like I said, I've been in and out and trading it as it is anyways. So again, just kind of my, back to my rules, how this would have worked out for me looking at that alert. There's nothing about this that interested me at all on this chart. But that's me, my trading and my idea, so I can go through these different charts and tell you why I would or would not have liked it. Same thing here. I mean, you know, not for nothing, but sorry, we're looking at weekly charts. So let's bring that back to a daily chart. All the same, not crazy about any of these charts. Same thing here. I mean, a dollar stock, all these wicks and things that I see back here, and these, it's just in a big downtrend. And anything can have its day, but this is just outside of all my trading plan personally. So that's, my kind of short and skinny on that. I want to find something to like about this, but there isn't for me, especially here. We gap up into that, and right away, what is the first thing my eye just saw on that gap up? That's right here. Ready? When it populates across this daily chart, that area right there, and that we were more likely than not getting through that area. We couldn't get through it a few days ago, and it just didn't, doesn't make me a believer. So these are the things that I'm looking at, when I'm pulling up that chart, not wanting to chase any of those really small price gap up stocks. And it just happens to be the stocks that met the algorithm today. And it's happened to be the ones that unfortunately were losers. Um, but I go back to, chasing these things early in this first 15-minute candle, and you got a gap up like this and you're this far off that. For me, I'm using an 8 EMA. That's my personal preference. There's nothing magic about it. I happen to like this. The 10 SMA works just fine as well. Either way, the 10 SMA might have been here instead of where the 8 EMA is here, and it's still massively off that. And you can see it pulled back into that, these momentum averages here, whether I'd been using a 10 SMA or an 8 EMA, and kind of just held that area for the rest of the day. Couldn't really push off of it. Something else to note that might help anybody trading wise is keep in mind most stocks, I don't know, something like 95% of stocks or something like that. I don't have the exact number, but it's something upwards of 90% of stocks have put in their highs and lows for the day by 11 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time. So, keep those things in mind too, that a lot of stocks, they make their high early in the day and that's the end of it. There's no breaking that high for, 90% of stocks or something like that. So, those are my kind of things there. Jimbo, I think it's possible. Load very old historical data, for example. Gapper's kind of struggling to make it work. Trade ideas does not show anything, even though I selected a valid date. We only go back 62 to 65 market days in our data for scanning. So there's no way to go back more than that, other than to go back and look at charts and actually look at the gap there, Jimbo. There's no magic tricks or anything like that. We have server limitations. So the data gets dumped and the space gets recycled. And that's it. And the reason I say 62 to 65 days, it depends on what days market holidays fall in for weekdays. So, when you start to get around, Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff like that. What do you mean it doesn't show from? So if you went like this, if you went right click and you go historical date and you go time frame and you put in a day from last week, you don't see any data. And there, I see you there, Luis. Welcome. I know we talked earlier. So if I recall correctly, you were looking at trying to find things that had, like a 10% move and a certain percent move in 10 minutes. So let me know, Jimbo, on that. I mean, you could right click and you can go to history and time frame. Okay. Send a cloud link over to info@trade-ideas.com with the scan that you're talking about. I'm going to load it over here and I'm going to see if I can load that data. So send info@trade-ideas.com. Send me a link to that scanner there, Jimbo, and I'm gonna load it, and we're gonna work through and find out why you're not getting data, unless it's a local setting of yours. The only other thing I can think of is a right click, properties, come to view mode, and make sure you're on newest first. Don't group and sort by, otherwise that'll screw with your data. So for you there, Luis, we start any scanner, this is so versatile, the software. There's there's over 500 filters and alerts to create scans from to start with. And then you have to enter values for these things. So to say there's an infinite amount of combinations that can be made with this is an accurate statement. So, but if we were just looking at so if you wanted something that was going to work both pre and regular hours, I kind of more point you to a top list, because alert windows are time-stamped alerts saying, hey, this stock did this at this time, a new high, new low, things like that. So I'd say we come to a new top list, all right? And we got to stick with filters that do work in both times, regular and pre-market, because some things don't. So, you're talking about changing the change in 10 minutes percent wise. So let's get rid of any of these things that are in here to start off with. All right. We come to search, and the first thing you want is your change. All right. And so we look at change, and here we go. This is everything we have for change filters. It's a big list. All right. 2, 5, 10. And so you can see that it is in dollars and percents all through here, all the way up to 120 minutes. We can actually put in 1 minute filter in this for top list, but the issue with top list, they refresh every 30 seconds. So that's why none of the top list default to have it in here, but we can insert that into your account if you ever needed that. For top list, you'll find change 1 minute in an alert window, but either way, you want 10 minutes, 10 minute percent. So we click it, we add that filter to the scan, and now that filter's in the scan. All right. And we could give it a price range. So, shout out if you want a price range, right? And what's the minimum you want to see as far as a change goes? minimum percent and a maximum percent. If you have a minimum maximum, we got to tell the scan what to look for. And then I see you coming in here, Juliana. Chris traded AI, moderate, long, all 600. What do you suggest to avoid? Uh, I can't tell you what to trade or not trade, or how to trade or anything like that. You got to consider, are you going in a market order? Are you going in a limit order? What kind of day are you looking at in the market? What are the strategies that she's coming with? Um, you want moderate. So, unfortunately in moderate, you can see here, what happened here. And, last week, had you been here talking with me last week, there was days where the moderate was, incredible. There's no real clear cut answer on what to do with, there's no magic money machine. Holly's going to have her up days and down days. The only other suggestion I could make to you is to kind of, let her make the entries and then your trader's eye afterwards, something like this here. It was an all day long short. It was an easy short. There's nothing ever to say it was going to be anything otherwise. You get a green bar ignore there. You can even call this a bear flag here, and just an easy move. But you get, stuff like this down here, as I discussed right away, coming in, I would never, personally, I would never trade this. I just, there's nothing about this chart that I like, on top of the fact that, look at all these updates coming from $2 to, all the way up to here. Just not my cup of tea. That's all there is to it. Unfortunately, that's the chart. So, but her algorithm, that's what it saw. That's what it caught. Look at something in between, that's in between a winner and a loser here, that was in the money. So we're looking at this here. You got a stock that's already in a downtrend. All right. She's trying to find maybe some support here, revision to the mean. So, you can see that it's really beaten up. So it's probably looking to find an up day after so many beaten up days. But you just didn't find it on this today. It just continued that downtrend. Also doesn't help that it's a bear ETF. So, there's no magic button. I'm sorry to tell you, Giuliano, on that. It's really man and machine. That's, anybody that knows me knows it's about man and machine, not just pressing play on Holly and letting her go. You need a trading plan, I think, to execute Holly the best. We gave access to Holly to automate because we had thousands of people asking for it, and it was against our better judgment to do it, but we did it anyways. Full well knowing that it's, Holly's not a magic money machine. 10-minute minimum 10 or more. So you want to see up 10%. So, all right, let's come back here. Let's look at this top list here. All right. So we bring that back over. So we looked at change 10, add that filter. All right. So you want to see a minimum of 10% in 10 minutes. All right. So that's the start of it. Now, do you have a price range that you want? Right now I've got it at 1 to 5%. Do you want to see that it's up or down from the previous day? Do you want to see it's traded a certain amount of shares at this point? You start to get in some sticky stuff, trying to scan pre-market and live market with it. 100,000 shares traded in the pre-market's a good amount of shares. 100,000 shares traded in the regular market is not a good amount of shares, and as far as what I would consider liquidity. That's why I don't like to, I keep things separate, pre-market and regular market. I don't use the same scans that I would for either one of those. That's my, my big thing is, if for anybody that's looking on, this goes back to you with the AI question. Anybody that's looking to press play, go out, run to the bank, play a round of golf, have a couple of beers afterwards with their friends, and then come home and then count their Holly money. I'm sorry, that's just, that's not going to fly. That's all there is to it. But if you're sitting here, you're doing some manual trading, you're letting Holly enter some stuff. pull up the charts right away if you let her make an auto entry and decide, hey, this doesn't look good to me. Let me kill this trade right away. Hey, I don't like the stop that she selected. Let me adjust that stop in my orders tab. Those are the things that I would do with that. And so, all right, minimum 50K today. All right, so oops, 1, 2, 3. So, now we're building the scan here. So, we can see this scan right now is going to look for stocks that have 10% up in the last 10 minutes, at least. They've traded at least 50,000 shares, say they're between $1 and $3, and that's all this is going to return. It's going to return every stock that looks like that. And then there's other things that we can get into about how it brings in stocks from the server sort and how many stocks can populate onto this. Go slow and not dive down too many things at once. Excuse me. But and in this search tab here, you've got all of these data points that you can add to the scan here, all kinds of different ranges, position and ranges, consecutive candles, gaps, distances from pivots. All right, below and above pre-market highs, position and ranges, RSIs, positions and Bollinger Bands, range contraction, linear regression, standard deviation. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Different SMAs that we offer, distance from. So, with a scan like this, you're probably going to be returning change in 10 minutes, 10%. That's probably not going to be a lot. But let's just load it and we'll look at what it looks like. And I see your question about IB. 1 second there. So change 10-minute. Well, we can make an alert window, but then we need an alert event. So, all right, just by doing this right here, now this is all that it's going to be looking at. And this is the only stock that meets the criteria of the scan that we just created right now. That's it. That's your one stock that's meeting that criteria of that scan as we roll into market close today. So not returning a whole bunch. And we can make it an alert window, but then it needs an event to be attached, a new high, a new low. And what I mean by alert is that, so that was a topless window. That's every 30 seconds goes back and forth from the server. All right, so when we were looking in the search tab before, we didn't have these icons here. All we had was these ones with these two colors here. These are our filters. We need to apply a minimum and maximum value to each one of those filters for it to qualify a stock for the scan. Well, up here, you see these symbols all change now. These icons change. These are alerts. So an alert window needs one of these attached to it with the filters to give you a time-stamped alert saying, hey, all your filters were met and this event happened at the same time. Running up, running down, volume spike, crossed above, below, standard deviation, these pullbacks from lows, highs, open, close, so on and so forth. So, all these different things here, you have to pick one of these to coordinate with the filters on, on an alert window versus the top list, just the filters. We don't need any event. So that's how that works. And that's indicated by, you've got a T in the top left corner here. You have an A in the top left corner here. You got a time frame up here of 30 seconds. You have a time stamp here of the exact second the alert came in on this. Sorry, just getting a message here. Sorry. Anyone else having problems with TI and IB? What is your problem with TI and IB? My only problem with IB ever is my fill price, but that's IB, not TI. If you can elaborate on what your issue is, I can possibly help you. I mean, I use IB. I've used them for a while. I'm pretty handy when it comes to their link. Most, if there's brokerage plus issues, I'm kind of your guy to come to as far as trade ideas, troubleshooting goes on that. Sorry, I just want to drop this here. sorry, just want to drop that link. Someone's asking for about this webinar here. And then you can put audio alerts on the A windows, the alert windows, and also what we call multi-windows. So multi-window would be taking a few different alert windows and combining them into one window. It's a way to save real estate if you have limited screen space. And those two can have a sound, and we could do text to speech with that if you're with a Windows machine. The T windows don't have any sound alerts whatsoever. They just populate, the stock comes on, stock comes off as they qualify for that scan. And again, there, Ash, whatever if you can elaborate for me what your linking issue seems to be with TI and IB, I will get you troubleshooted one way or the other. Alrighty. Just clicking around a few things got going on here. So that's the short and skinny there, Luis, for audio alerts. And let's see here. And it's real simple to set up an audio alert. So if we right click, we come to properties, all right, actions, make sure play sound is checked. We come to set up sound. Right there, it's all set up for you, text to speech. All right, and you can use any of these other ones that you like too. So maybe you have one window you want to text to speech, another one you want a beep or a ding. You can also set up through Windows pathing custom sound if you wanted to. So you click custom sound, and you would select the sound. Find a file in here that you created. All kind of options, so that if you've got, let's say, 2 or 3 different alert windows and you don't want to confuse the sounds between them, you hear sound X, you realize, oh, that's coming from this momentum window. Or if I hear, the talking sound, I know it's coming from this pullback window, so on and so forth as far as that goes for sounds. And just to give you an idea here, let me load a multi-window. Let's see, find a nice Turbo family up. This is one of an oldie but a goodie. I don't use it like I used to, but it's still probably one of my favorite multi-windows when I'm looking through multis. So this window here has several different strategies in it, and all the strategies are very similar, but they're segregated by market cap, actually. I'm going to have, I think, a special guest joining here in a moment. Hopefully we have this all set up right for when he pops in here. So if we look here in this multi-window, we right click, we come and we see strategies, and you can see 1, 2, 3 different strategies here, and we can come to the configure of each. All right, and we could look and configure. And like I said, I know this one ahead of time. All of this is going to be the same in this window specific filter, except for the market cap will change in each one of those strategies. And so this is a window that's looking at stocks that are at all-time highs with some decent volume in them. And we're using an EPS filter to weed out our ETFs. We use a distance from market filter just to weed out some any prints outside that distance there. Same concept here with the sound as far as this goes. So like we showed you right here, right click, properties, actions. All right, just like that was there. We right click, and again, properties, same thing, actions, make sure play sound is checked. Come to sound setup and make your sound selection from there. And again, so this is a good way to save real estate here. So, all right, I have a guest coming in, do a little extra here for us. So whenever you're ready, Steve, go ahead, take it away. And then make sure the audio here, Steve, I'm not hearing you come in yet. I don't know if anybody else hears Steve.
Hello.
Gotcha.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to my desktop. All right. Thanks, Chris. Um, just like to come in here every few days and say hello and do a market update. And we're going to start with the S&P right here. So let me go ahead and expand this a little bit. All right. The update for the market today is don't fight the Fed. Okay. We are just plowing into new all-time highs every single day, and it's a Fed-driven market. There's no way around that. I will say, that I was not feeling quite that way back here. All right, now this was a very bearish setup, down gap with kind of a rollover to test those lows. That was a tough gig, but this market is resilient. It's strong. It fought back, and I said all we need to do is see a couple of closes back here above this 50-day moving averages on these indexes, and that would probably be the signal that we are good to go higher. So here we are. We're rather extended. That's really my observation so far. When we get this extended away from our key moving averages, I start to get a little nervous because at any moment, all of these days can be taken back with one swift day of selling. Stair steps up, elevator down. So if you've got some good profits, maybe you want to book a couple. At some point, this thing is not going to remain as stretched out as it is now. I'm looking for some sort of consolidation in the near future, and we'll see where we go from there. The NASDAQ also pretty much looks the same over there in tech space, very extended, even more extended to me than the S&P looks. A lot of distance between the current price and this key moving average, the 10 SMA right there. So be aware that that can be taken back at any moment, and it's healthy consolidation. The one thing I do want to leave you guys with is the IWM seasonally, the small caps. For those of you who like to trade the small caps under $5, under $10, this is good news for you because technically we're breaking out of this long 10-month channel that we've been in, and we're doing so just in time for the holiday season. Seasonally, around Black Friday and the holidays, the small cap darling names start to come to life. Don't know why, but that's just always been the case. So you're in luck if you like to play the small caps. Technically and seasonally, looks like things are going to be shaping up for you pretty good. All right, that's all I've really got for you guys today. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.
That is awesome. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Let's bring it back over here. Looks like we're good. Back on my eyes on my screen here. So, um, I live for Steve's market recaps. It used to be my number one reason for making the Trade of the Week webinars with him every single Tuesday. So, um, don't fight the Fed. He said it best. He said it best. Maybe we'll dive into a little more market recaps in a moment here. Go around some ETFs, but all right. I think I've tried to touch on all these questions here. Still waiting for Ash here if he can elaborate on what his IB connection issue is. And let's see. I don't see. Also, I'm looking to see here. Who was it? Jimbo. If you wanted to send that scan into me, I can, open it up here on my screen, that cloud link, and take a look to see, what's going on with the history of that scan. Why maybe you're not getting something on there. So other than that, I think I've touched on everybody here. If I haven't gotten your question or you want me to circle back to it, just pop that question in here again. No scan projects. I've been super tight with my schedule. I've been much busier with support stuff than I have been in a very long time. Um, and on a personal note, I'm getting ready to run the New York City Marathon in a couple of days, so I've been kind of stretched very thin as far as things go. I do have an idea of a scan that I wanted to do for a long time, and every time I start to do it, I don't get the results I want. To get discouraged, and I kind of sideline it again. So um, that's just kind of how that is for me lately. Nothing special right now. Still kind of letting that cross scan work its way through data. I still kind of maintain that I probably over optimize that. So anybody that's been in these webinars in the afternoons here, scan that I was working on that I discussed, trying to look for crosses on a 5-minute chart with a 5 SMA and a 20 SMA. Just nothing really crazy. Yeah, no, I'm all stretched out and ready to go. Perfect. All that's left to do is get there and put the race jersey on. So that's kind of that. Again, it's an open forum here, so if people have questions, what I'd love to do is demonstrate stuff based on your questions on the scanner. Dive down, any kind of charts or anything like that. Um, and we'll see. I thank you, Trade Ideas Education Channel. I'm pretty pumped up about it. Pretty pumped up about it. So, excited to run across that Verrazano Bridge that started off in Staten Island. So, all right, if nobody has any specific questions, I've been thinking about a directional detect wedges, not not in a pattern way, but what I would suggest to you is maybe some different range and change in filters. You know how we always discuss how Andy built that bull flag scanner with range and position range filters. My suggestion to you would be something like this: configure and come into search. All right, and I would start with maybe range. All right, let's get rid of those alerts. Let's look at filters only. All right, and first figure out what kind of time frame are you working on here. All right, so are you working on a longer time frame? You might want to go into the days. If you're working on a shorter time frame, maybe look at these different minutes. I usually work in percents. You could do dollars. Yes, I'm here every day, with the exception I will not be here tomorrow. Everybody, I am taking a day tomorrow to prepare for the marathon. So you won't find me here tomorrow, but you'll find me here, barring some kind of accident, Monday through Friday next week, and every week after that, moving forward. 3:30 Eastern every day. And this stream that I'm on right now, Barry runs it every day. He opens at 9 o'clock in the morning here. He takes the stream till noon Eastern every day, gives it up for an hour for a Q&A that's similar to what I'm doing here till 1. Then Barry takes it back till 3. We shut down for about half an hour, and I open back up at 3:30 every day. So lot of live support here. And while Barry's more the trader side of things, he can answer just about any question you have about trade ideas. So don't don't hesitate to ask him. I would more suggest asking him later in the day than early in the day with the trading going on. But that's what he's here for too. With that said, back to kind of trying to find a wedge. So I'd pick maybe a range and a time frame of that range, and then set some filters based on that. And then I would probably move over to some position and range. All right, if I can type right here. All right, and maybe using position and range with these different intraday ranges here, or today's range or yesterday's range, something like that. So to start to establish where you want your highs and lows to come in for this wedge, and then maybe implement a change. And so that you're finding things that only have changed a certain amount, or have changed more or less than a certain amount based on minimum and maximum filters. And I think using a combination of those three types of filters, you could probably start to find wedge things. That would be my kind of suggestion as far as that goes. Let's see here. Sorry, some different messaging. Just want to make sure I keep up on all the gossip here inside. All right. So, all right. Let's see if there's any other questions from you guys. Nothing else coming in here. So that would be my suggestion on wedge detection. If we come back to alerts and filters here, get rid of this. We have some stuff for patterns, but they're not always the best. Pattern recognition is not something that's easy, So we've got some stuff here with these broadening bottom, tops, triangles, so on and so forth. I think that's really kind of it as far as that stuff goes. And then I'll bring this over. I mean, I show it a lot, but hopefully it's not overkill for you. I'll just scan it through this. This is a bull flag scanner daily. Now, I mean, you have this on the Market Explorer now too, but it's not, you can't dive into the filters behind the Market Explorer. But on this here, it's a daily bull flag setup. First, let's share the link for it in case anybody wants it. This is something that Andy created. All right, so anybody with trade ideas, you can download that there. And now I'm going to go ahead and load this and bring it over. And so it's not showing much, unfortunately, today. But we come into the configure, and this is how Andy did it. Windows specific filter. Let's clean out the stuff that we don't need in there. All right, and so you put a price range in there. You could always adjust this if you don't like that price range. You use the EPS filters to weed out your ETFs. Use the position and range filter from the previous day. All right, he wants to see stocks that are up today. 5-day range between 1% and 5%. We're moving here. Use the composite rating, try to get some more quality names. Composite score, something that him and Michael Noss did that updates real time using mostly technical analysis, but through some fundamental stuff in there too. And then in 10-day range, wants to see it, a change in the 10 days, 3%. All right. And average daily volume through 300,000 in there too. So, that's what he worked with, and that's what he came up with. And it returns things like, let's hopefully, fingers crossed, we got some good looking stuff here. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Bull flag. There's your flag. There's your pull. All right. And so that was MAS. Can we go 2 for 2 on this? Not bad. Not perfect, but not bad. Also, refractal pattern. All right, now it's an extended flag, if you will, off that pull, but all the same. Usually flag is 3 candles moving in the opposite direction. All the same. Very refractal on both daily and intraday timeframes here, 5, 15, and daily chart. So that's how we did it. All right. And I always, I pound home outside the box thinking with our data. Just because something says this is what that filter is doesn't mean there's one way to use that filter to return things to you. Just shows how powerful and versatile the data and tools that we have, and always round around to that fact that with this many pieces of data in here to search from, as we come in here, and this is just in a top list for the filters, not including all the alert events that we have. And then you got to consider the fact of coming in here and adding values to all these to return those stocks to you. It's just, there's literally an infinite amount of possibilities here for creating scans. Let's close that out. Let's close that out. So we kind of touched there. Let's see, we are at 14 past the hour here on the Eastern Seaboard. We touched a little Holly. Gone over that. Steve did a market recap, hit the SPY. I talked about the IWM. I just like to bring up real quick since we're there. RSP, your equally weighted S&P 500. And again, we take out another all-time high on it again today here. All right, we gapped up into it. Well, we gapped up there and then we moved here before taking a slight pullback, but pros closed the market, and that's what the close was like. Interesting to see. Again, this is not so extended off those averages like we just saw the S&P with Steve. We'll bring that back up again. The SPY anyways. We'll take a look there. And we see we're a lot, well, I won't say a lot more. It's kind of a relative term, but all the same, or a subjective term, we see that we're more extended here off of the SPY than we are the RSP. Same set of stocks, just how they're weighted is a little differently. Just scanning my sector list here. Something I wanted to bring up from this. It's a ticker I still have yet to commit to memory. I can find it somewhere. And I keep just noting how China just cannot get out of its way. MDY, there we go. All right, your mid-cap trusts. All right. And again, so this one looking quite a bit more extended as well, but again, takes out an all-time high again today. Tries to find some strength on the close, try to find his footing on the close. But, in a bull market, we talk about these revisions, these pull to the means. Um, what's the moving average you like? I don't know. I like these two moving averages here. That's an 80 MA, that's a 20 SMA. I use them on all time frames, just what I happen to like personally. What you want to use, that's up to you. And, whatever that moving average is, I would suggest, and whether it's an index or a stock, look for a pullback into that after you get extended here. And then you try to find that strength and then move up and build off of that again. We talk about the signs of a healthy bull market for anybody that's new into this feed here. What's a healthy bull market look like? That's what a healthy bull market looks like. Look at this position and range and how we display this data and how awesome that is. All right, there's your position and range on the year right there for all these different ETFs that represent different sectors. You got your semiconductors here, Vanguard Communications, cloud computing, agriculture, all right, your REITs, health, banks, um, more banks, financials overall. All right, look at all these. You got your shippers, emerging markets, gold, silver miners, junior miners, all that down here. This is your China, large caps down here. All right, so you can see where's our strengths. All these things up here, they're at the max, they're at their highs for the year right now. All that's up here. All right, and not only are they highs for the years, but they're off here. They had made lows on the year. On top of that, everything you see here never went negative for the year. Not one of those went negative on the year right there. Any one of those, and that's why you don't see this side shaded in, where you see both sides shaded in here. And so I know my drawing's getting a little crazy there, but let's get rid of that. Healthy bull market. That's that. Do want to kind of more show off the software here. So an idea that I've had for an alert window is kind of a pullback alert. And my thoughts on it currently is using the 5-minute high as the catalyst of the alert for it. So we're going to add that. All right. I know I go kind of fast here. So what I did is I started with a new alert window. I came to search, look for this 5-minute high. I know it exists already. But I suggest to anybody, go through. There's so many different alerts. An alert or an event, is what you need to trigger the stock. So 5-minute high, that's what I have been looking at. I've been using that in some different alerts that I've been trying to build lately. There's a ton to go through here. I really do yourself a favor. Get familiar with these things. You never know when inspiration is going to hit you. You're out for a run, out for a walk. You're eating, dinner with the kids or something. You're thinking about building a scan. You're like, oh, what about this kind of alert? Maybe that's the catalyst I need for building this scan. So, anyways, 5-minute high is kind of where I'm going to. So we come here, and I've had that selected as that. All right. Whenever I'm building an alert window, I come to the specific Windows filter. I click hide the unused. There'll be some kind of filters there that are populated already based on things I've recently been using, or you've been recently been using, or that are popular. Get rid of those values and start from scratch. I don't like to look at anything really under $5 quite personally, so throw that as a minimum in there. I want it to be a pullback alert, but I want it to be a pullback alert on things that are things that are strong on the day. So, I want to see something that's, I want to see it up on the day. I don't want to see it down on the day. All right. So let's find things that got to be, so let's say let's go with 0.1 for now up on the day. All right. And then I can't be at the highs, obviously, if I'm making a 5-minute high and it's been a pullback. So we've got a position and range. Let's go with position and range for the day. So you see this position and range filter here with that D on that. All right, I'm going to click that. I'm going to add that filter. And so we've got a max value. I want to see it above. Let's go with, throw 60% in there for now. And how do I know that's going to be 60%? That's there. We click the show me function, and now it tells me, show me stocks where the price is below the low of this range. Show me stocks where the price is at the low of this range. Show me stocks where the price is no more than 60% above the low of this range. Okay. So that's what we know what we're working with here. All right. What else? We want to make sure there's some kind of volume in it today. I don't know. Let's go with, go with 125,000 shares traded on the day at least. 1, 2, 3. All right. Um, what else? What else can we add to this? Anybody got any thoughts, any ideas, some suggestions you might have here working with a pullback alert? So we're working. We know we're above the close of yesterday, but we're below the high of today. Maybe let's get some kind of range in here. We don't want to see stocks that are only trading 4 or 5 cents up and down. So let's look at range. All right. Want to look at filters, so bring that in here. Let's look at a 5-day range. Let's see, maybe stocks. Let's add that filter. We're going to go with the dollar value on that and say, let's say a minimum 50 cents. Whoops, not $5. So a minimum 50 cents on that. All right. So show me stocks where the 5-day range is at least 50 cents. So, maybe some little meat on that bone moving around there. And let's give it a name for now while I'm thinking what else we can add to this. So pullback, 5-minute high. All right. Let's see, what else can we add to this here? And when I start to get stuck, just kind of start to cruise through this all here. So maybe we'll add some kind of 5-minute volume. I'm not sure. I'm not always big on the time frame volumes. We'll think about it. Let's think about it. And again, so it's open here. I'm building this, with you guys. I'm trying to show some stuff off with the software here as well. So if someone has something they have a thought about, fire that thought away to me. Just kind of looking here. Bob Ross mode activated. Draw a happy little chart. Got a range. Don't want a gap. We use the change filter. Change from yesterday. Any consecutive candles. None of these things right now. Whenever I'm optimizing a scan, these are some good filters that I like to come into here. Just kind of point this out. You're changing your NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P. If you got a long scan, might benefit you optimizing it to get some kind of change in these major index filters in here. Just suggest taking a peek at them. Never hurts. Change from close, change from open. All right, well, let's just kind of start here, I guess. I'm running out of ideas, and you all don't seem too keen on jumping in here and helping me. SMA, do we want to put an SMA filter in there? Debt to ratio. No, I'm going to stay away from the fundamental stuff. Time of day. Well, since we're looking at a pullback scan, let's not look at anything let's add this filter and say, let's not look at anything till 20 minutes after the market opens. All right. Let's come back to search. Ooh, count filter might be something we want to look at eventually here. Don't say that, perfect circle. You get it eventually. This is, there's just so much in here. It's so versatile. So, all right, I think that's let's work with this here and just see what we get returned. So, if we click OK, it's going to bring us to the summary. And so this is, what we're looking at here. Not new 5-minute high, just a 5-minute high is our catalyst to get the alert. Stock's got to be at least $5. It has to trade at least 125,000 shares today. It's got to have a 5-day range of at least 50 cents. It's got to be up 0.1% from yesterday's close. We want to see it 40% below the low of today, or below the high of today at the max. And we don't want to look at anything until 20 minutes after the market has opened. All right. So that's what we got. We've named it. Pullback, 5-minute high. We're going to click OK. And we're going to bring that in from my other window here. And let's run a history on it today. Let's take a look at what we had coming in. So let's run history today. And we see this is a holy cow active window. We're definitely going to need to quiet this down some. All right. So we can't even go that far back because we can only populate 1,000 symbols in here at once, or well, 1,000 alerts, not necessarily symbols because they're going to show repeats. So let's go with the time frame. All right. So here's the day. Let's look at hopefully maybe 10:30 a.m. on the latest. We'll start with 9:50 a.m. on the earliest. We're going to press OK. That's going to give us that range. Hopefully will work well. All right, that looks like we did it. So let's just go through a few of these alerts and see what happened here. Let's zoom in a little bit on that daily chart. So ESI, what are we looking at here? So, we can see we're off the high on that early wick. We caught it here. Not bad. All right, 25.65. Slow and steady wins the race on a day that was really just full of chop and a day after the Fed. I like that. Quadruple S. I don't know if I've ever seen that, and I've seen a lot of tickers. It closed up. So we get the alert here at 5:16 on that pullback. So we get the alert here, made a move up there, came back down here near the alert price, just under, kind of floundered around under 15 and moved up. So, all right, alert. LNG. All right, so 106.59. On top ticked out, unfortunately, moved back down here. Not really any real terrible off the alert price, but nothing great there. This is a arm stock, right? Ammo and stuff, right? All right, so let's see, 650. All right, not bad, 651, 20 cents off that. Got that alert early, some time to get in. All right, so we see some stuff that we could definitely work with here with this. A relative volume spike. Yeah, we could throw a relative volume spike in this. This one, not so great. We could use that as an alert catalyst. So, we can keep multiple windows. So we could say, all right, well, I like kind of what this window's doing, but maybe let's see what else it could do. So we could always right click, we could duplicate the window. We can come in here to the configure, all right, and say, all right, well, the 5-minute alert looked like that. Let's take a look here and come to search, relative volume. We can put a high relative volume alert in there instead, add that alert, get rid of the 5-minute, all right. Let's go to ratio of 2, meaning that's doing 2x its relative volume on the alert. Bang, bang, all right. And let's see what this does for history. Let's run the history today. And it looks like it's going to be extra, extra, extra alerty and chatty too. And now keep in mind, this is extra chatty because we didn't put a lot of filters in here. We didn't do a lot. First, this is the beginning how I build a scan to see, is it going to return the things, is it going to return setups that I'm looking for more often than not? We'll worry about the follow through and the success rate of it as we make sure that we're finding setups that look like they could develop into something. So that's a lot of history. So let's do the same thing again. We come to time frame. All right, so we're working with today. Let's go to 10:30 a.m. as the end time, and 9:50. And if you're wondering why I'm picking 9:50 as a start time, because I told the scan not to start looking at stuff till 20 minutes after the market open anyways. So no point in going with an earlier time. All right, and I'm hoping that in that time frame that it won't return too many alerts. So we look good here. Why does timing matter? Well, if I'm looking for things that are pulling back off the high of the day, I don't want to look for something that's pulling off the high of the day 5 minutes into the market open. Quite personally, that's just how I'm thinking about it. Also, I know more or less, like I said, unless there's a stock I've been tracking or I've been trading a bunch recently, I'm not getting in that stock. The odds of me getting in that stock before 9:50 are not very high in general. Something that I've been trading a lot, yes, there's probably a good chance I might end up in it earlier than not. But that's just when I have a feel for a stock or not. So anyways, let's see, 9:50, it's relative volume move here. Nope. And No, I'm not gonna like that. I have a feeling. Yeah, I'm not a fan. CME group. So, all right, this one here, had a little bit of meat on it there. So 221 and 9 cents. So somewhere down here. All right, made a nice move up here afterwards. Real nice move actually. For giving it back up. But it's what we're looking for. Looking for something that made a nice move up, pulled back, and is trying to find its way back up again. And we want to make sure that it's this range where I discussed earlier that we know that most stocks, once they put in their high of the day, that's it. It's over. But maybe we can get a piece of that back. We won't come all the way to it, but we can look for a piece of that. That's the idea here. CR 2771. Nope, that's going to be somewhere up here. So nope, nothing great off that. So far it looks like the 5 minute alert's a better choice for this alert. But this is, just a small sample of data that we're looking at. We already looked at that. Let's see, 7630. So it's getting it here on this second 15-minute candle. And we also might say to ourselves, maybe waiting out another 15-minute candle might be better. Waiting out another 5 minutes might be better. So these are all the things you're gonna have to do as you go through. Since 6:30 is around there, and went on to pretty good alert afterwards. I'm gonna sit through some pain for sure. Um, Big range on that stock today. Real big range on that stock today. But I think hopefully this is giving you kind of an idea of where to start on building a scan when you have an idea. My idea right now is some kind of pullback alert, intraday pullback alert, an earlier intraday pullback alert. So, all right, this one doesn't look quite as promising like that, but what I am going to do is I'm going to right click, get this out of history first. Let's go back to real time. I do have to wrap things up here on the day. So right click, save or share to cloud. I'm going to save and share this. So anybody that's interested in this scan, you want to start to make it your own, use it as a template, sell it on the black market, whatever you want to do. There it is. All right. So now you all have access to that scan. Load that from that URL. Load it from the cloud. Make sure you save it to your cloud, your layout, however you want to do that. And for those that aren't familiar, right click, save or share to cloud. All right. You're just going to click that. It's going to save it to your cloud, and that's the end of that. So. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap up for the day here. Appreciate all the comments, questions, the interactions. Like I said, these Q&As are a lot better when we're interacting like this and we're learning and growing with the software together. And, the whole purpose is I want everybody to be able to succeed with this software, and I want people to realize how versatile and powerful this software really is. They're really, the only limitations are the ones you kind of put on yourself. Are we going to have every single moving average you want or every single data point you want? No. But we have so much that's out there. I bet you can find the setups that you're looking for using the software in, the incredible amounts of data sets that we already have. So, all right, like I said, tomorrow I will not be here, but I will be back Monday, 3:30 Eastern. All things willing and all things well. So again, I thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great weekend going into it. And we will catch you back here next week. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.